Good afternoon, innovation startup warriors, innovation gladiators. Welcome to take the ride of ISTEM. It's one of the initiative by Government of India, Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India. So when we talk about startup, of course, there are challenges. Like many a times we discuss about startup do not have a runway. It's not fit into the, the basic thing like the funding issues and other things. But apart from that, of course, we also know that there is a challenge of infrastructure or R&D. So these are the challenges really affecting the startup, especially limited access to high-end equipment. Of course, when you want to start your company, of course, you are in the tiny room and you want to have a biotechnological innovation. But of course, when you seek out the equipment, it's like astronomical charge you have to pay for that. Or maybe you end up in paying a very high amount to the one of the nearest ecosystem. But now it is like ordering a pizza. You can of course access the equipment anywhere in India, right? It can be in one of the CDAC in Trivandrum or maybe in the IIC Bangalore in the equal instance. So if you look at all these challenges, major thing, of course, major topics you have covered in the startup today, maybe, what are the other challenges like delayed product development, increased time to market, higher operation cost, and reduced competitive advantage. Because once you do not have a technology, proper product is not ready, of course you are going to have challenges like this, and then you need to have an high-end equipment which actually can be used for product development and finally go to market. So if you look at here, the statistics say that lack of market demand. Of course, you develop a product, but of course you didn't see the market where it is going to fit into. That challenge is of course more in around 35 to 42. And then the funding, of course, many a time all the startups start actually the runway is challenge for them to make sure to keep running. Of course, you need a fund. Either you start with bootstrapping and of course getting into various funding, maybe you may get from initially starting with some of your friends and relatives, that's called bootstrapping, and then getting into some of the venture capitalists, finally you get into the shape. But, these are the major things we would have been discussing many of the startup discussion today. Team alignment issue, marketing challenges, and then, expansion of scaling. But apart from this, major challenges when you are in the deep tech technology is the product development. And in the product development, especially, you need a tool and the infrastructure what you really need to survive. So I'm getting you to one of the example here. You look at the biotech EpiBond. Actually, is one of the medical regeneration company where actually they look at generating the bone part and other things. They have an initial challenge actually, when they started. They've been struggling to get their own lab actually for experimenting it, even for clinical trials, also for, 3D bioform. That is one of the things actually you have to print it 3D format of that. These are the challenges they face it. Of course, they associate with some of the academic labs. This is Indian started a company in New York. And other companies, Deep Tech on the start, Lilium. This is one of the company who is into kind of a drone where actually they have a challenge of again infrastructure and the technological support. So if you look at here again, the key statistics saying 30 to 40% more successful if you have a lab and equipment support. So again, you're wondering how actually this can be possible because, if you look at, there are many incubators here, but what happened is that many incubators have a limited infrastructure, especially focusing on 3D printers, CNC machine, extra. But your focus is more on research and, your startup need to have a, sophisticated lab. But you know that it is available, maybe one of the IIT. Now it is possible. Even a kid who is sitting in the corner of Trivandrum can access an equipment equivalent to an IIT a researcher who is there in the Delhi. So how it is possible? That's what I'm saying. We are actually introducing something called revolutionary thing called ISTEM. ISTEM is a lab aggregator. It's like there are publicly funded labs across India that all can be seen on one platform. Like Red Book, you are booking a bus, or maybe you are booking actually one of your hotel through Make My Trip. This is almost similar. Actually, you can easily access any of the labs by just searching and then booking them. So equipment, you can book it just for your research and development. Of course, also an access to resources. Resources can be a software, like we are also providing free software like As example, like MathWork, of course, most of the university have, but Console and a couple of other software, which actually can be used for your research as well as prototype development. So it's as simple as like, you are searching a bus, you are searching a, hotel, you search in the, when you get into iSTEM, is istem.gov.in website, you can Google it. Then you see a search box there, you put your, one of your equipment you are looking at, and then of course you will see the list of equipment available. And finally, the distance, and then of course the rate and other various parameters, you can decide which equipment or which, lab you want to access. So once you have, like book the equipment, of course you get this is the confirmation how actually it look like, right? Which day to which time and what is the time you are blocking. Of course, this intimation go to the other side of the lab, and lab will accept it, and of course you can travel to the lab and access it. There are other scenario. You may be a chemical engineer, so maybe your product may be related to chemical thing, and then you want to actually send the chemical to another lab, and they do the experiment for you and finally give the result. And of course, that is another way of looking at, because many a times startup may not do the things. They may actually take the support of some of the labs, and they will actually give you some certification as well. Recently in Trivandrum, we onboarded EMC as our partner, Energy Management Center. They actually do the testing. Actually, suppose you have a bulb and you want to know what is the life of the bulb. Maybe you have to blonde many a times. But instead of that, actually, there is a testing series tested by EMC. EMC say the lifespan of the bulb will be like that. So these are some of the workflow. So what is the difference between iSTEM and other avenues? Suppose you want to set up your own lab. Of course, it's very expensive for a startup. But you can also depend on the incubator near to you. But the challenge, as I said, you incubator actually, maybe you have to enroll for the incubation program, or you have to pay on the, like maybe hourly races here. And then even, getting that incubator, the same equipment is challenge. But if you want, different equipment, maybe different incubator you would look at. Also, maybe challenge to reach out other incubator where you are not incubated. So this is like, again, a platform where actually you may have a, prerequisite, this is my startup, have a, this product need to be developed, and these are the instruments needed, and what date and what time, so that your roadmap on technology can be placed properly, and then you can search. And of course, a lab setup is actually, if you look at here, we don't have a lab setup. We say actually it's like a rental model. And then here it is 90 days generally go for a lab setup. And then equipment booking is a matter of, it's like a pizza ordering, as I said, just like a click, search and click. Just a 0.5 days. Sometimes, what happened, the confirmation from the, the lab may be a little delayed. Otherwise, it is going to be faster, like a pizza ordering. So that's all, because I didn't see too much crowd here, actually shrink my discussion here. But I can tell you what exactly the iSTEM is. Actually, you can search in the Google and for iSTEM, and then you can log in there, register it today. And of course, there are backend team who is going to support you. We have a 1-800 number. Actually, once you call it, our team is going to support you. And if you want a specific some lab example, one is not listed in the iSTEM portal, of course, we can reach out to the institute or a lab or specific lab. If it is a government-funded one, we can enroll them on our portal so that you can really access through that portal. And if you have a challenge of anything else, you can write to our email address. Because I just brief it very faster because of, I know that I'm between the inauguration of Chief Minister is here, but then see the crowd here. If you have any quick question, I can answer it. But I can say this is an aggregator platform for publicly funded, like labs. CDAC is one of the examples in Trivandrum. We have EMC, that's a testing lab. We have College of Engineering, they have a lab. We also have ICER in Trivandrum, they have labs, of course. These labs all can be accessed through our national portal.
Thank you so much, sir.
I think some
Thank you
questions
for the wonderful session. We have a small token of appreciation
just,
for you.
I think I have somebody has a question. Yeah.
Sure.
Sir, do you also do comprehensive testings? Like, if I have a product, I need to test it in various labs.
Yeah.
So do I book individually to all the tests, or?
No, you're talking about the final testing.
Yes.
Yeah. And there are labs like EMC, right? They have final testing and certification. Those labs you can send them. They of course do the final thing. But if you are like in the between like prototype to product
yes.
development, then of course you have to do yourself
different
in booking various equipment and instruments.
So the amount will be dependent on the lab I send.
Lab. Basically what we encourage the lab to, private company nowadays they give the discount, right?
Yes.
But generally, government say, I don't want to. So now actually we are creating a kind of a culture where they can give a, reduce. For example, now Christmas is coming, New Year is coming. Why can't you start like that? Some of them are okay, agreed on that. Like NIT Karnataka, we had interaction. The professor Gangadhar is from Kerala. He said actually, yeah, of course, I will be the game changer for that. If you want to, we can start something like that. But again, depending, SISR may charge different from College of Engineering. Maybe EMC for a testing may charge different from. But the EMC charges higher. But through the platform, we are negotiating to give a lesser charge for that.
So we can just send our samples and ask
Yes.
them to test it and give us back our
Yes.
results.
Yes. So of course, when you book a book, test equipment, you can have an offline discussion. What is called, so that now what you want and what is your, then operator, you can interact with them. And finally, your own choice, they will accept it and finally book it.
So does iSTEM charges any amount?
No, iSTEM is a, as I said, is a Office of Principal Scientific Advisors, Government of India. It's under Prime Minister's strategic project. And, we don't charge anything. However, partners may charge, but that's a nominal again. It's not going to be very, very, as I said, astronomical charge for you.